Hey, are you ready to get started on the next sections of iReady Reading on dealing with Anne Frank? We have already completed pages 153 through 155, so if you're needing those, you need to go to the other video. This is pages going to be for pages 156 through 157, The Diary of Anne Frank, Act 1, Scene 2. So you should have the other ones already downloaded and worked and saved. I told some of you to go ahead and try to go ahead and work on this section on your own. So if you did, that's great. If not, we'll work on it. You can go back and look over it. But if you don't have this section done, go back to the other video and it will do this section first, okay? I want to get rid of this again, so I'm going to go to View and click Show Hide, Tools Pane, and that's off. Then I moved down. We did all of this yesterday, and we went through. And now we're on the section of The Diary of Anne Frank, Act 1, Scene 2. I do hope you went and looked at the virtual tour of The Diary of Anne Frank. But let's go again, start it here. Actions speak louder than words. I need you to remember that saying, actions speak louder than words, okay? So what I want you to do now is I want you to read part of Act 1, Scene 2 below. And the only thing I want you doing right now is just reading. So go ahead and read The Diary of Anne Frank, Act 1, Scene 2. And I'm going to go for a few minutes while you read and let my dog in. Heidi's wanting in, so I got to go let her in. So y'all read. Okay, how are we doing? I have some questions to ask to see how you did at comprehending. What gift does Mr. Frank present to his daughter, Anne, in the scene? He gave her a diary. That's correct. Yes, he gave her a diary. All right, next question. What reason does Mr. Frank give when explaining to Anne why she cannot go? Let me restate this. What reason does Mr. Frank give when explaining to Anne why she cannot ever go outside the door of the room again? Mr. Frank tells his daughter it's not safe. Next, third question. What activities does Mr. Frank tell Anne the family will do while they are in hiding? Right. Mainly, he's telling her that they can read books about history, poetry, and mythology. Please remember, the reason I do that is after you read is I check for understanding. If you could answer all three of those questions, you read that. Awesome. And yeah, you can hear Sassy barking at Heidi. If you could only answer two of those questions, you might not have finished reading because I might have asked too quick, but that's great. That's awesome. If you can only answer one of the questions, that's still good. At least, you're getting something. If you couldn't answer any of them, you need to go back and read. And mainly what we talked about, take one paragraph at a time and ask you some questions about it to help you remember. Now what we're going to do is we're going to reread, and mainly we're going to reread using our study buddy and our closed readings. First of all, our study buddy, off to the side, she says sometimes people's actions tell as much about them as what they say. As I read, I'm going to look for examples of the stage directions that tell me more about the play's characters. And that is something very important. Please remember the stage directions are what's in parentheses, and that can help you understand about the characters. So that's really great, helpful news. But then we go down here, we're going to go to our closed reading, and we're going to highlight and underline some things. So let me go back and say, The Diary of Anne Frank, Act 1, Scene 2. Mr. Frank. And now there's a box there. Will you open it? He indicates a carton on the couch and brings it to the center table. Anne, pulling out a postboard bound book, a diary? She throws her arms around her father. I've never had a diary, and I've always longed for one. Pencil, 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 pencil. She starts to go down the stairs. I'm going to the office to get a pencil. Annie, no! He goes after her, catching her by the arm and pulling her back. Annie's startled, but there's no one in the building now. It doesn't matter. I don't want you ever to go beyond that door. Annie sobbed. Never? Not even at nighttime when everyone is gone, or on Sundays? Can I go down to listen to the radio? Mr. Frank, never. I'm sorry, Annie. It isn't safe. No, you must never go beyond that door. For the first time, Annie realizes what's going into hiding means. Annie, I see. Mr. Frank, it'll be hard, I know, but always remember this, Inky. There are no walls. There are no bolts, no locks that anyone can put on your mind. Meep will bring us books. We will read history, poetry, mythology. With his arm around her, they go to the couch and sitting down side by side. As a matter of fact, between us, Annie, being here have certain advantages for you. For instance, you remember the battle you had with your mother the other day on the subject of overshoes? You said you'd rather die than wear overshoes, but in the end, you had to wear them. Well, now you see, for as long as you are here, you'll never have to wear overshoes. Isn't that good? And the piano? You won't have to practice on the piano. I tell you, this is going to be fine life for you. Annie's panic is gone. So now let's go back up here. And what does Annie's reaction to her father's monologue or speech reveal about her character? Circle, we're not going to circle, we're going to highlight the stage direction that answer that question. Well, if we go up here in the first paragraph, what does she do? Well, what does she do? She throws her arms around her father. That right there is the stage direction that lets us understand how she feels. You know, she throws her arms around her father. She's giving him a hug. Do you think she liked the diary, or do you think she's mad? What did she all of a sudden want to go get? Let's go read our next close reading. You're going to underline the benefits of being in the hiding that Mr. Frank lists in his monologue. So now we're going to go to Mr. Frank, and a monologue is his talking. It's his dialogue. So we're going to underline words to let them know what are the benefits for being there. And yes, we're going to underline. For one, the benefits is Meep will bring them books. They never, ever have to go get a book. They're going to be brought to them. And they're going to get to read about history, poetry, and mythology. And those are the things that they love to read about. Okay? And then he goes on to say, as a matter of fact, between us, Annie, we have certain advantages. And these are the advantages they have. Okay? Says now you're never going to have to wear overshoes. Never again. because she's never going to be outside in the rain. And you won't have to practice the piano at all. Never again. And that means this is going to be the life for you. And if you notice, after he told her all that, her panic is gone. But then it says, draw a box. Right now, Dad's acting in this section. Dad's calm. This is going to be a good life. But before that, he doesn't seem like it's going to be a good life. So we're going to draw a box around the earlier stage directions that shows he knows his family is in danger despite his reassurance. So if we go up here, what did he do? What did she want when she was going to go after a pencil? What did he do? He goes after her, catching her by the arm, pulling her back. And let's cross that out. And let us stick a note letting us know that this meant that he understood that there was danger out there and that he's frightened and scared for his daughter. I want you to stop and look for a moment. Look at the stage directions. We have two stage directions here that let us know exactly how they're feeling. How does Anne feel when she gets it? She's wanting to run downstairs to get what? And Daddy jerks her back. We understand how he feels. And then we also understand through dialogue how Father is talking to her. So we understand our characters based on what's going on through them. We know the setting, they're in the room. And if you looked at the virtual tour, you'll see what that couch and room looks like. They have very little space to walk. So this helps us understand the characters. But before we get started, I want you to go back and look at a word. I want you to go back and look at this word right here, advantages. I want you to look at it. It's in Mr. Frank's monologue. There are context clues around that to help us to understand all the advantages, and we kind of underline those advantages. We found out that her one advantages, she's never going to have to wear overshoes. She's never going to have to practice the piano. So advantages are things that are good, benefits, pluses for living here. So always remember, when there are words you don't know, look around to find the context clues. Now let's move on to the guided practice. So you're going to use your hints on this page to help you answer the questions. At any time you get stuck on any of these questions, go back and look at the things you've highlighted. That should be in our box. That's why I put the box there. And what we've underlined. And to remember the dialogue. Remember the stage directions. Go back and look for them to figure out your answers. And please remember, this section, I am helping you, all right? So let's go through. It says, use the hints on this page to help you answer the questions. Which stage direction shows that Mr. Frank's speech has calmed his daughter? So the hint says which stage direction appears after the father's monologue. Stage directions are in parentheses after the monologue or after the father's name to show who's speaking. So which stage direction shows that Mr. Frank's speech has calmed his daughter? So go up here, and when did we find out she had calmed? Okay, if you can figure out your answer, highlight it. And I'll go through these. If you're looking at A, B, C, and D, and A, B, C, and D, which one is dealing with Annie and her being calm? I'll give you a minute to go pick your answer. Well, taking a sticky note, you know me, I like these. All right, so if I'm looking at the answers A, B, or C, if I'm looking at A, B, and C. A, she starts down the stairs. B, Anne realized what's going into hiding means. C, she throws her arms around her father. A, B, and C are incorrect. They are stage directions that come before Frank's big speech or his monologue. Let's just do speech. So I'm doing really good today. You remember this kind of stuff, don't you? So they do not show an reaction. So which one shows her action? It was D, correct. How many of you picked D? Awesome. And if you go right here, here's the father's whole monologue. And right here, Annie's panic is gone when she finds out she doesn't have to do those things anymore. And she gets to read books with her dad all the time. Okay. What can you tell about Annie's relationship with her father from the dialogue and the stage directions? How are they talking to each other? And what are they doing? She is angry at her father for grabbing her arm. She has a close relationship with her father. She doesn't respect her father's decision, or she wishes her father would treat her like an adult. Go ahead. And think about, how does Annie react when she opens the curtain? All right, go for it. Pick your answer. Okay. Do you ever notice, was she really angry at her father? So A is an inaccurate Does she ever act angry? No, it's inaccurate because that's not even her characterization. It's not her character. She doesn't get angry with her father. She doesn't talk back to him or anything. She's listening to him, but that is not how that's just Annie, and that's not the relationship between the father and the daughter. So no, A is not it. Come on. B, C, or D. All right, let's look at C and D. C, and do I like you writing down why answers are wrong? Yeah, I do. C is incorrect. And it's incorrect because the whole time Anne shows respect to her father. Never in this dialogue or section we've read has she been, disrespectful for her father. She's been always respectful. And D is also incorrect. And do you know why D is incorrect? And it's because the text doesn't support this answer. It's not even in the text. Okay? So your correct answer is what? It's B. She has a very close relationship with her father. And he bought her a gift. He knew this was going to be, and then he's trying, he gets upset. He calms her. He's wanting to keep her safe. So how do the stage directions, number 3, how do the stage directions in the middle of Mr. Frank's monologue differ from those before the speech? So here he's comforting. He's explaining to her. But up here, he was startled. And that's what we're talking about, to be able to show the difference. Now, got to remember, you've got to use at least 3 details. So what we're going to do is ACE, ACE. We're going to answer the question. We're going to cite information, and we're going to explain. So the first thing, and we're going to take a sticky note. Now watch something greatly about these sticky notes. Okay? They get bigger. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to say small. So the whole thing is here is Mr. Frank, because that's who we're talking about, is Mr. Frank. So yes, you need to be writing. Mr. Frank tries to comfort Anne by telling her that no one can lock up her mind. And I've gone straight to answering how he's comforting her and giving you an example, because he's letting them know that nobody can lock up her mind. Okay? And then listing out the benefits of going into hiding. Okay? And what are they? Such as, and now here comes again more textual evidence, not having to practice playing the piano. Now the whole thing here is I'm putting these in my own words so I don't have to use quotations. He, to go further, also puts his arm around her to help ease her pain, her panic. So those are the things that he did to comfort his daughter. He told her nobody can lock up her brain. He gave her advantage. You don't have to play piano. You don't have to wear overshoes. You could even said those. And then now he's letting her know he's putting his arm around her. But however, now I'm going to go to the next part. But how was he afraid for her? Okay. But however, his earlier words and actions show that he is afraid for her, as seen in the stage directions. And I'm going to give you those stage directions, and I'm going to give you word for word. So now we're in quote. And I'm showing you this because I want to show you in the stage directions, you even have to put the parentheses around them. He goes after her, catching her, and I'm making sure I'm writing word for word, by the arm and pulling her back. Period, thing. And then the period and everything goes inside the quotation mark. Remember, punctuation always goes inside. And then I'm going to finish it. It is not safe for her ever to go beyond the door. Now I want to look at something. Look where I use the pronoun it. We know what it is. Some of you, when you're answering questions, you go up here and you put it up here. Don't use a pronoun if you haven't let people know what you're talking about, because it won't make sense to them. And if you look at this, I've answered the question. I've talked about Frank's actions, and I've talked about his words. His first words were comforting to her, to let her know her mind's not locked up. His words also told her that she wouldn't have to play the piano anymore. She wouldn't have to wear overshoes anymore. But what about his actions? His actions was that he put his arms around her. Okay, that was the comforting part. But what about her being so afraid? At the beginning, and I gave you the stage direction, he grabbed her again by pulling her, an action, and letting her know it wasn't safe for her ever to go beyond the door. Now, if you got all that, great. If you don't, then you can stop me and close me and slow me down some. So my question here is, what stage directions and dialogue show Anne's disbelief when her father tells her she can never go beyond the door's room? Did she talk back to him? No, she just kind of sobered, said never. Not even at nighttime when everyone's gone, or listen to the radio. But his father still told her no, because he's worried about her and he wants to keep her safe. After Anna receives the diary from her father, why do you think her dialogue includes 4 repetitions of the word pencil? Why do you think the author put pencil, 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 pencil? She's excited and she wants to start writing right now. It's like when you get a new toy or a new cell phone, you want to play with it right now. All right, what I need you to do is go up here and hit file and hit save. You should have everything answered. And the only way you get credit for it is to, once you get it in, send it to me on Canvas, submit and send it back where you downloaded it from. Now, if you're one of the people that you can't get onto Canvas, you have it in your workbook. Awesome. And in your workbook, if you're sitting there going, well, can't get in Canvas and I don't have my workbook, but you have a phone, you can snap pictures and send them to me to bgraham@corinth.k12.ms.us, and we can go from that way too. Hope everything's working out. I'm going to pull up the independent and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. But please remember, the independent is where I want you. On the parts that are not independent, I'm willing to work through and to go through everything with you. But you need, on the independent, it's like practicing, for those tests. And I really wish you would read it. And please remember, go look at your questions first and then go answer your questions. Okay. I hope this is helping y'all. Have any emails, just email me. Okay. Next week, I'll have to try to find everything out there because some of you, I don't want you rushing. Okay, please don't rush through this. Just take your time. Everything doesn't have to be turned in on Monday. You have Monday, Wednesday. You can even turn things on Friday. Okay? Just glad you're working. You're making me so proud. I'm so proud of y'all. Awesome. You're doing great. Okay? Keep it up. Oh, keep it up.